Okay, now we will discuss how to make a Venn diagram if you are given the different sets to represent. Now these sets, as we can see here, are written in set builder notation. They say let A equal X such that X is one of the first 5 letters of the English alphabet. This is set builder notation, as we said, and there are other ways for us to represent each set. One of them is roster form. Roster form is where you actually write each element you have in this set. So if I want to write set A in roster form, I'm going to find out what are the first 5 letters in the English alphabet. So that's going to be A, B, C, D, and E. How is that helpful? If I want to represent that in a Venn diagram, and the Venn diagram is actually like 3 circles like the ones we have here, each one of them represents one of the sets. So this is going to be set A, this green one here is going to be for set B, and the red one is for set C. We always write the name of the set in a capital letter, and we always write it outside the circle, not inside. Now we have identified what is the set A, and we wrote that in roster form to make it easier for us to know the elements. We're going to do the same for the other 2 sets. So for set B here, they say B such that the element X is a vowel. Now vowels are, as we know, A, E, I, O, and U. So now I have all the 5 elements I need of set B. Then we're going to look at the last set we have. Set C here is X such that X is a letter of the word vegetable. Now take care when you look at this word that it has repeated letters, like letter E here is repeated 3 times. When we write it in roster form, we cannot write it more than once. Each of the elements has to be written only once. So I'm going to be writing V, E, G, then I'm going to ignore the other E because it's already represented, then T, A, B, L, and again ignore the last E. Now I know all the elements in each of the sets, and my mission now will be to write that in those circles. When you want to fill a Venn diagram, we always fill it from the inside out. So we start with the intersections. What do we have in common? What do we have in common between the 3 sets, then between each of the 2 sets, then the rest of the Venn diagram? If we try to write it any other way, you will end up with repeated letters and your work is going to be wrong. So the same way we do not repeat any of the elements in the roster form, we also do not repeat any of the elements when we draw a Venn diagram. Now, if I'm looking for the letters I have in common, first thing I'm going to look at the letter A here. I have A in the first set, the second set, and in the third set as well. So A is in common. I'm going to cancel it here from all 3 sets, and I'm going to write it only once in the middle. So here I wrote A. And if we look where I wrote it, you will see that it's part of the green circle, so it is in the second set. It's part of that orange circle, so it is part of the set A. It's also part of the red circle. So it is in common between all 3 of them. I wrote it only once in the Venn diagram, although it is written 3 times when we had it in roster form. Do we have any other letter that's in common all between 3 of them? Yes, we can find E. E is in the first set, the second set, and also in the third set. So also E should be in the region of the intersection between the 3 sets. Now why do I cancel it like that? Just to make sure I don't write it again. Once we cancel it like that, we make sure that we're not going to use it again when we write the rest of the elements. Now, is there any other letter that is in common between all 3 sets? None. But we do have elements that are in common between 2 of the sets, like the letter B here. B is in common between A, set A, and set C. So I'm going to put it between set A and set C. So here goes B. Okay? Now B is part of A, also B is part of C. Anything else in common? As we can see, nothing. So we don't have an intersection between A and B. There is nothing in common between A and B for the rest of the letters. We don't have an intersection between B and C. There is nothing in common between B and C. So it's time for me to write the rest of the sets. There are still 2 more elements in set A, which are C and D, and I'm going to write them here because they are only in A and not in any other place. Now if we check here set A, I have cancelled here all the letters, which means I should have represented them all in the Venn diagram. Did I? Yes, we have A, B, C, D, E, and within my yellow circle I have A, B, C, D, E. So I did represent all of them. We go to set B. We still have I, O, and U. So I'm going to write I, O, and U in this part here. Then I'm going to look at this green circle. Did it represent all of them? Yes, it did. I have A, E, I, O, U. So all of them were represented where they should be. Then I'll go to my last set. I still have V, G, T, and L. So I'm going to write all 4 of them in the part where there is no intersection. So I have G and V and T and L. Then I'm going to look back at these words. Do I have V? Yes. Do we have E? Yes. Do we have G? Yes. T? Yes. A? Yes. B? Yes. And L? Yes. Now, I can say that this Venn diagram represented all 3 sets in a way where I can see the intersections and I can see all the things in common. So if I am asked here to find one last thing, which is the intersection between, let's say, A and B, so this here shows the intersection between A and B, I'm going to look at A and B, and what do I have in common in this middle area? Only 2 letters, which are A and E. Same, the question here is asking you which letters are in all 3 sets. So the letters in all 3 sets are the intersection between A, B, and also C, which is still the same 2 letters, A and E. Now, last thing, if I want to find the intersection between A and C, what do I have here? Not much. I have A and E, but not only A and E, there is B with them. So now we have discussed how to draw a Venn diagram from given information about sets. We know the difference between set builder notation and roster form, and we know how to represent intersections.